Hi everyone, here's some quick explanations for you and some tips about how you can set up your reports nicely using Microsoft Word and some of the features that will save you a bit of time and build in consistency and the sort of professional look that we want to see. So for your title page, you'll have a proper title and your name and so on that refers to your actual report. The contents page, we'll come back to that later because we're going to do some things that will make this an automatic process. Now, getting into the actual body of the report, with the headings in here, the easiest way is just to select the heading 1 option from the title bar. If you don't like the blue color that it uses by default, there's lots of different ones through there that you can just click on one of them and it gives you a preview of what it's going to look like. If you want to modify it yourself, you can do a right click there and modify, and you can change the color and the size and center or left alignment, all that sort of stuff too. So we've got this set up as a heading number 1. Down here in our, so if we have a theory section, we'd have heading 1 and then heading 2 for the next pieces below that. Often with these sort of ones, some people will want to do an automatic numbering system as well. So up here in the menu bar, we've got this multi-level numbering system, which has got a few different options. So you can see on the right-hand side here, there's one where it uses numbering as well as headings, all the way down to heading 9 if you really want to go that far. But typically, only 3 levels of headings is probably what we use the most. So there we go, I've selected that one, and it's automatically put in the numbering through there. And if I go back up to my introduction, yep, it's given that number 1. So let's do results as well, give that a heading, and conclusion. Okay, so there's all my headings set up. Now that we've got some headings, we'll come back up in my document. Here we go, table of contents. I've already put in some page breaks in here, that's why there's lots of space. But I like to use this option to see where my page breaks are. Now, to get my table of contents, that's here under the insert option, I think. Why can't I find it just now? Okay, well, let's do page numbers first, seeing as that's not showing up just now. So if we put some page numbers, we can just do a really simple one at the bottom. Okay, so it's made that page number 2. And scrolling up, we can see the title page is taken page number 1. So then our title and contents pages actually have page numbers on them. And then when we get to the actual body of our report where we want things to get started, that one's going to be page number 3. So that's okay, but it's not really ideal. Ideally, we want to make this page number 1 where we actually start writing about what's going on in our report. So there's a trick that we can do if I just close the footer thing. So the trick is, instead of having a page break here, if I just delete that for now, I want to go to my layout and select a different type of break, a section break. So this means that I can organize the layout of the first part of the document and the second part of the document differently. So I'll just double click in here. Okay, so this is section 1 and section 2. You can see it's organized them differently. And they're just copies of each other at the moment. So the way that it works, we have to scroll down. Here's the footer for section number 2, and here's the option saying it is copied from the previous one. So it always goes that way. You have to scroll down, and then we can turn off that copying option. In our page numbers, we wanted this to start at 1. So there's our option in here, start at 1, because it's a new section. There we go. And scrolling back up again, here's our table of contents and title page. So probably we don't want any page numbering in those first sections. So that's okay. So contents, got that. Title page, you can see there's no page number at the bottom. And no page number on the contents page. And at the bottom of this page, we've got page number 1. Okay, so now let's try and get this table of contents in. Oh, yeah, it's under the references page. Okay, here we go. Table of contents. So there's a few different styles that we can choose from, whether what sort of wording you want and so on. I'll just use the first one, and that means I can delete that. There we go. So everything's on page number 1, and it's got the numbers in there, it's got the headings and so on. And as I'm working on my document, if I want to space things out, so let's put the conclusion onto a new page. Rather than hitting enter lots of times, the nicest way to do it is under the layout to do a page break in there. Or if you want to do keyboard shortcuts, if you like them, that's Control Enter. So now conclusion's gone on to page number 2. So if we come back up to our table of contents, we get this option to update. And if we haven't changed any headings, then we can do the first option. If you have changed the wording of your headings or inserted some new headings, you'd need to do the entire table. So here we go. We've got it changed automatically to page number 2. So that's a lot easier than coming back and trying to type all this sort of stuff in for yourself. The other thing that's important for formal reports is, let's do the referencing sort of part first. So there's 2 different things where we need to have referencing put in. The one that's probably most obvious is where we're doing a direct quotation, that you've copied a bit of text from somewhere. So in my case, I've copied that from the Wintec website. So we've got an automatic feature to help us to do the referencing properly. And APA is a style that's used a lot of the time. Another one that's used occasionally is the IEEE. But yeah, it's up to you, and check with your tutor. But pretty much all of the time, we'll be working with the APA style of referencing. So this is based on a little database in a way of referring to different resources, so websites and books and so on. So I've already set up that one as a website that I'm referring to, but if you need to set up a new one for yourself, you can just go add a new source and it prompts you for what information you need to put in there. So if it's a website, if it's by a particular person, it's best to use the little edit button out the side, and you put in their name in the separate things, and it does the last name, first name in the right order and all that stuff. In my case, I just used the corporate option, saying Wintec was the author, and then the name as it appears at the top of the website. So if I bring this one up, so the name up here just is engineering. That's the name of the page. The URL you can copy from the website itself, and the year, month and day there, that's when the actual page was created. So some pages will show that information at the bottom to show how current it is. The other thing that's often used for website references is when you actually access the website. So the year, month and day when it was accessed. And the star things are here, they're recommended, but they're not compulsory. Okay, so I'm just going to put in my citation here so that it goes after the quote marks. So ND meaning no date. So that's what we can do with a direct quote. The other way that we can do references as well is when we're just stating a fact and we want to show that it's a fact that we've taken from some other sort of reputable source. So in this case, Wintec itself is our source. So if there was a year, say if it was published in 2018 for that website, then all you do is put brackets in the year after the website itself. So if it was referring to me, you could say Phillips 2018 said that something something. And then in your references at your end, you'd have to make sure that that's included as well. So the reference list If I come to the end, leave a little bit of space here, and go somewhere up here, bibliography users. So you can use bibliography or references or works cited, whichever sort of style suits. I'll use this one. There we go. It numbers it, so it's following the same style, and it includes all the information in there as required with that APA standard, as long as you've entered the information right in the first place. So that can save you a lot of time, and you can make sure that you're meeting the requirements for what you need to for doing your referencing properly. I know that's a really quick go through with the referencing, so definitely have a bit more of a look around about how your particular tutor wants to see it, and there's a lot of other guidance out there online as well. One more thing I wanted to show you as well is with images. So one important thing with the image is to put some sort of explanation about it. I'll just hide those paragraph marks. Here we go. So you put some explanation in the text before the image, so the reader can read the words and then know what they're looking for in the picture. Also with pictures, we have to have a caption. So if we use the option here, it automatically numbers the captions from the start to the finish. So I'll just give that something short, as map. And in this case, it's an image that I've copied as well from the Wintec website. So again, I'll go to my references and do a citation to Wintec. So anytime you're copying one of these images, if it's one that you haven't created yourself, then you should be putting in a reference on those images as well. When it comes to tables, having the headings along your table and so on definitely helps. You can see there's a bunch of different options for how you want your table to lay out. And the tick boxes up here. So if I turn off my header row, it just takes away a little bit of the bolding. And the first column, often we don't need that bolded as well. There's, if we select the whole table, there we go. Then we can do a caption for the table as well. And you can choose if you want it below or above. Different publications, I guess, want things in different ways. Results from doing some particular test if it's a practical report. And this one, rather than calling it a figure, I'll call it a table. Oh, let's put it at the top. Let's undo that. Try again. Caption. So yeah, for tables, it defaults to going on top. I want to put that at the bottom. Oh, can't quite spell properly. There we go. In this case, let's put it on the left-hand side. I think it might look a little bit tidier being in the middle. There we go. And again, we've got some explanation, a bit of text about those results before we actually put in the table to help the reader to understand what's going on with that. So I think those are some of the key things that will help you to set up your reports well, to make sure that you're getting a good layout that's consistent and that you're meeting the requirements for what we want for our academic reports. And it's going to save you some time as well with using the automatic table of contents. So I had added in that references section. So we'll just go update the entire table. Okay, yep, references are also there on page 2. So hopefully that helps you while you're working on your reports. And if you've got any questions or other tips that you find, then definitely let us know about it. Good luck, everybody.